Worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little birds sing by my doorsteps, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true, singing, this is my message to you, true, true. Saying, don't worry about a thing, yeah, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little birds sit by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true, singing, this is my message to you, true, true. Yeah, welcome to Spring into Courage Conference. This is day 2, so if you missed day 1, no problem. We are happy to have you here for day number 2, and we'll be speaking around wealth, what it is to have true wealth, and share with you some information that you may not know, the general public may not know. About 98% or so may not know this information. So you being here, you will be a part of the 2% or the 1% of people that will know this information that we are going to share with you today. So I want to welcome you to this live broadcast, and I just want to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? Where are you tuning in from to view this broadcast? Put it in the chat wherever you are tuning in from, and we will see it. And it's so wonderful to have you here on this broadcast today. And today is going to be fun, as in all the days of this conference. We have structured it to have fun, lots of fun, and definitely smile, right? It costs nothing to smile, right? We are going to have some fun, and I trust that when you leave this conference today, that you would have learned something or discovered something that you never knew before. And it goes along with the theme that we are running throughout this conference. We want you to be, let's have a recap. We want you to be aware. We're using the AIM framework, AIM, and we want you to be aware. So awareness is key here. And inform. We inform you of the information that you need to do further research, because you have to do your due diligence, right? So everything I share with you today or throughout the conference requires due diligence. I'll give you some information, and then you will go and do your own research to confirm what I say to be true for you. Okay? And then move into action. That's the M in AIM. Move into action. Move into action. So you're going to engage with the information and apply it to your situation so that you can finally live healthier, wealthier, and happier without compromising your integrity, and that is guaranteed, right? So on day 1, We gave the overall theme of what we are going to do. We did health already. We are now in day 2 for wealth, and day 3 we'll be doing happiness. So let me give you a brief overview of what took place yesterday regarding our health session. So I share with you about some exercises that you could do in order to enhance your health, and there are simple exercises that you can do. You can do exercises to strengthen your spine, strengthen and straighten your spine. And I told you about the resistance bands that you could use to help develop your shoulder muscles here, your biceps and your chest and so forth. And those were simple exercises to do. I also shared with you a smoothie blend that was made with the superfood kale, and adding this to your diet on a daily basis for as long as you want. Just do it on a daily basis and you will see the results in your life, right? So we discussed that, and we gave you a formula about what you can put together for common, say you have a common cold, you can put that formula together and use it in your family. Use it for yourself, right? And we also looked on the word FedEx, and you didn't know, or some of you didn't know, that there was an arrow in the FedEx logo. There was a teaspoon or a measuring spoon, and there was a tire in there, a tire rolling toward you, right? Let me see if I find it. Okay, let's see. So here we looked on the FedEx logo and we said that there is a teaspoon right here. We said there's a tire right here at the D, and then we say there's an arrow going to the right. Now, what we said about that, we brought that to your awareness, and in bringing it to your awareness, everywhere you go now and you see a FedEx truck passing by, or you see the FedEx logo, you will not forget this, that there is a measuring spoon, there is a tire, and there is an arrow. And what we said about that is, you take, as we apply it to our lives, you take small steps, or you take small actions, incremental action. Well, you take action on the thing you need to do, right? The certain thing you need to do, moving in the right direction, and you will achieve the goal that you set out to do. It has to be the right action. Small amount of the right action give you a big result in the right direction. So we share that with you. We brought it to your awareness, and you now got the information, and you're now moving into action. So that's the AIM framework that we're using throughout our conference today and tomorrow, and that's what we did yesterday. So if you haven't signed up for the conference already, it's not too late. You can look at the link that was submitted. Anywhere you see this broadcast, there's a link. You just pay the amount out of pocket, and it will come back to you in multiples just by being here and getting the information that you may not get anywhere else. So do yourself a favor and sign up for the conference if you haven't done so already. Right. So let me tell you a story. So long time ago, I was living in the Caribbean island called Jamaica, and things weren't going so well. There were a lot of things that needed to be done, some things that I needed to achieve in my life, and my family was growing. Now, I wanted the opportunity to achieve these things on a quicker basis than I was achieving them. So I, along with my family, decided that we are going to emigrate to Canada. Now, that journey to Canada was one of courage, right? Because we were leaving our family members, those whom we grew up with in the country, and we were going to a place where we haven't been before. We didn't have any relative in the place that we were going, and it was new. It is a cold country, and at the time when we were going there, it was in January, and that is one of the coldest time of the year. And we were going to the heart of Canada, the heart of Canada. Now, when we arrived in the night, and it was about 10:30 that night, and it was really cold. So you can imagine being in a cold country with very little warm clothing, very inadequate footwear, because I had my sneakers on, and to keep myself warm, I put on some socks, like about 3 pairs of socks I put on to keep my feet warm, and an extra layer of clothing under my jeans. So you can imagine from a Caribbean island where there is sunshine throughout, coming into a cold country, it took a lot of courage to do so. So we came, and things were arranged for us, because the lucky thing for us, I was coming into a job already, so it wasn't too bad. But guess what? I could have come into the job, and the job decided to send me back, right? That was a risk that I was taking with my family, my young family at that. So we came, and things were arranged and so forth. So it was smooth sailing in terms of I had a job to bring in some income, right? To sustain us and to build up while we are making this our home to achieve what we wanted to achieve. So what does this mean to you? You may be going through a situation right now that you are thinking that it's hopeless, right? You are thinking that there is no way out. But I'm here to tell you and to encourage you, to empower you, to inspire you, to uplift you to the fact that there is a way out. Somebody in your network knows how to get out of that situation that you are in. So take courage and move into action with the little information that you know, and seek out others who are a little ahead of you and who can help you to reach where you want to go. So throughout this conference, I want to encourage you, and as we gather together as like-minded individuals, we'll share with each other, we'll encourage each other, and we'll share ideas and strategies that you can use in order to get out of the situation that you're in that is not serving you. So as today we are going to be sharing about wealth. Wealth. What does it mean to you to have wealth? What comes to mind when you think of the word wealth? Do you think of money when you think about wealth? Do you think of knowledge, a wealth of knowledge? Do you think of abundance when you think about wealth? All these are right answers, right? So for every one of you here, wealth means a different thing to you if in your current situation. Wealth means a different thing to you in your different situation. So I want to read for you a book that I have been reading so that you can get a better understanding, to help get you into the mindset of what you need to do in order for you to live healthier, wealthier, and happier in this time and forevermore. Right? So the book I have is called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. Now, here's what the introduction says. And you can actually get this book on your own and have it as a part of your library to enhance your mindset and help you to achieve what you want to achieve. The greatest secret of success is there is no secret. That has been discovered by hundreds of thousands of men and women who have read this book in the 25 years since it was first published. The formula for success, far from being secret, inaccessible, or difficult to understand, is clearly spelt out in the pages that follow. Like those high achievers who preceded you through the ideas herein, you will find that something wonderful happens to you as a result of reading if you are ready. So you have to be ready if you want to have that success. You will achieve physical, mental, and moral health, happiness, wealth, or any other worthwhile goal whose attainment does not violate the laws of God or the rights of your fellow man. Since this edition addresses an entirely new generation of readers, it might be helpful to give you some background of the collaboration between the late Dr. Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. And you heard of the book Think and Grow Rich, right? After you do the Think and Grow Rich, you have to do and grow rich as well, right? It's not only about thinking and growing rich. You have to do and grow rich. After you think it, you do what you think about, and then you'll grow rich, right? So in 1937, long time ago, it says, I owned and operated Combined Registry Company, a national sales organization devoted exclusively to accident insurance. Morris Picos, a well-known sales executive, sales counselor, and lecturer, gave me a book that had just been published, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I read it with consuming interest because the philosophy it set forth coincided so closely with my own. In fact, I was taken by it that I sent copies to every one of my sales representatives throughout the United States. Bingo! I hit the jackpot, for I made a profitable discovery. I found in Think and Grow Rich a working tool that motivated my sales representatives to motivate themselves to increase their sales and profits, and something more, to acquire wealth through responding to its inspirational self-help action message. From then on, Think and Grow Rich was a standard part of the orientation package given to all new sales representatives in my company. Yeah, just skip through a few stages. So here in the introduction, because of Napoleon Hills and W. Clement Stone, because of their belief, they met someone who could help them along when they were not feeling very successful, and because of that they have collaborated together and they have brought wonderful products for us to use in this time to move us along and to get us to where we want to go. So he met Andrew Carnegie, and you know about that story already, and they interviewed lots of the wealthy persons who were around at that time, what they did in order to achieve the success that they were achieving, the financial success that they were achieving. And it was written down in what you call a book. How many of you know what a book is, right? And this is just one of the books that you should have in your library in order to achieve what you want to achieve. Because these authors, they have done the heavy work already in gathering the information, their life experiences, and they have placed it in a small volume called a book, right? And you can get this wealth of knowledge for a fraction of the price, of the cost that they took to put it together. So I'm not going to read all of this here, but this I want to bring to your awareness. Remember what we said, the theme running throughout this conference is aim. And when you think about aim, you're thinking about a target, What is your target? We are ending a quarter at the end of this month. Have you met the target that you were targeting? Have you aimed correctly? Right? You became aware, you gathered the information, and you moved into action. Right? That's the theme of what we are doing here in this conference. To aim. AIM. Awareness, inform, move into action. And on day one, we covered health, and we run that theme throughout. Now day two, we are covering wealth, and we're going to share with you some information that you may not know already. And we have a special interview that will shed more light into what I am talking about. And you will get first-hand information on this, right? And it's really exciting to get this information because the average person does not know about it, right? And as I said before, there in some other capacity, there are two sides to everything. Two sides to everything, right? There is the sun, the moon, day and night, hot or cold, man and woman. There are always two sides, two of everything, right? So in our present time, there is two of everything, two sides of everything. And we'll discuss that even more throughout as we go throughout today in our wealth sessions on day 2 of Spring into Courage. Now, what we're going to do, we are going to take a 15-minute break, and during that 15 minutes break, you can sign up and come over into our Zoom room where we can get more intimate with each other in learning more about this information, and you will be happy you did. So for those of you who are seeing the preview of day 2, right, we're going to turn off that stream during the break, and then you can come over here with us where we continue in day 2, where we'll share the information with you about what you can do and put into place right now in this time. We're living in such an uncertain time, and to be around people who have a positive outlook upon life and situations, it's good to be around those type of people that can help you, lift you up, right? And to empower you to live a life of happiness, peace of mind, and living living an exceptional life. That is the vision we have here, and we have a vision of reaching 1 billion families with this information. So if you want to be a part of it, you can come on over and move alongside with us and be blessed by what we do. So we're going to take a short 15-minute break, and then we come back here where we will go even further on the wealth ideas that we have for today. See you in a bit. right? So welcome again to Spring into Courage Conference, and we are in day number 2 talking about wealth, and the main goal is that you will be healthier, wealthier, and happier when you leave this conference. Okay, so in our last session, in our last segment, we were speaking about, or I introduced the idea that there are some persons who are living a very different life than what you and I may be living in, right? They are considered by many the 1%, and 99 or 98% of people do not know this information. So you may be going through a lot of heartaches right now, right? You may be sick of your current job, your current corporate job, and in that job you lack the support that you need to thrive, right? You may be living a lie, upholding the corporate wrongdoings, right? These are some of the things or situations that you may be facing right now, and you are too afraid in order to stand on your values and take courage and to do something about it. You may be sick and tired of being told when to work, right? When to take a break and when to take a vacation. Right now we are heading into a season of renewal, a season of new beginnings, right? And you may be feeling restricted right now. You may have a fear of going to the grave without fulfilling all that you need to fulfill. You may be afraid that the legacy for your offspring may not be set up, right? And during today, we want to explore the ideas of how we can build that wealth legacy for our offspring and the offspring of our offspring, right? You may be slowly sinking in financial debts right now. But I'm here to remind you there is a way out. Hang around the right people and you will see your way out. But you have to take some action. You have to do the moving. So I want to share with you, let me make sure that I am staying close to the time. So I'm going to share with you about some information, let's put that on the clock, right, that you may not be aware of, right? In order to, let me ask you this question. In your mind, where is all the wealth? Where is all the wealth? You may say all the wealth is in the banks. You may be right. But you are the source. The source of all the wealth comes from within you. And it is the Creator that gives you the strength to acquire wealth and to leave a legacy for your offspring. Now we want to explore this idea of how this generational wealth is created. How this generational wealth is created. Now, if you're living in the United States, you will realize, if you haven't done so already, that the United States of America is a corporation. And if you look in Dun and Bradstreet on that website, you will see that the US is a corporation. The government also tells you that the United States is a corporation. And you can find this in the code Title 28 USC, and this is 3030. This code tells you that the US is a corporation. And what that has to do with you, right? Knowing that it is a corporation, you will understand or come to the knowledge or come to the awareness that a corporation exists to benefit its shareholders and those, yes, to benefit their shareholders, right? And are you a shareholder of the United States? You can answer in the chat. Are you a shareholder of the United States? If not, that means you are not benefiting from the corporation. Now, there are so there are some receivers for this corporation, this corporate United States. There are some receivers for that corporation. The number one receiver is the international bankers. International bankers. That's number one. That's one of the receivers. The second receiver is the World Bank. The World Bank. Second receiver. Right? And the third receiver is the International Monetary Fund. Popularly called the IMF. Now, all these terms or words, which are also corporations, you would have heard them all throughout your life. You heard about the IMF, the World Bank, and the international bankers. You have the Bankers Association, the International Bankers Association, and so forth. So these are the three receivers that own the United States, right? And who are in the United States? You have its citizens. So its citizens are in the United States. Therefore, if the receivers own the United States, then the receivers also own the citizens and everything therein, right? You may not like this, but this is the case, and you can find it in different resources that are out there, reputable resources that you can find out there on the internet. Even on the government website itself, you can find this information. Now, I'm going to share with you another important thing. It's called the IRS. The IRS. And that is the Internal Revenue Service. The Internal Revenue Service. Now, this organization is not headquartered in the United States. It is headquartered in the Philippines and also in Puerto Rico. You can look this up. It's headquartered in the Philippines and in Puerto Rico. And the job of the IRS is that it collects money on behalf of the IMF. It collects money on behalf of the IMF. So, if you know how you can have the IMF work on your behalf in order to collect credit for you and return that credit to you when you do a tax return. And I deliberately went slowly so that the information does not fly over your head or fly past you. So, the IMF can work on your behalf. Follow the steps that they lay out and you can have them work on your behalf. Now, the IMF works all over the world. All over the world. It has operations in every country in the world, right? And they are intertwined in the other tax authorities that may be in your country. For example, in Canada, we have the CRA, and there are agreements between the CRA and the IRS to work together. And your country may also have those relations together, right? Now, if, for instance, you get audited or you get a letter from the IMF that they want to audit you, what you should do, and advice that I want to give you, it's not financial advice, so you can have it in mind, is to ask for a level 3 auditor. A level 3 auditor. You want a level 3 auditor, and you also want a level 3 audit. So remember that. Ask for a level 3 auditor and also a level 3 audit, right? And that way they will open the books to really see if you are really owing any money or anything like that. One thing that you should not do is to say, I do not owe this amount, whether it's true, whether it's true or not. Don't say, I do not owe this money, because what will happen is that they will say, okay, since you don't owe this money, let's see, what do you think you owe? And then you will agree on what you think you owe, and then you have to fulfill that agreement that you just made, right? So you ask for a level 3 audit and a level 3 auditor, and you send that via a certified letter to them so that there is a trail to say that they got it and they need to respond to it. Okay, so you may have heard the pen is mightier than the sword. So you get back into the habit of using your pen and paper to write letters, right? These days you have word processors where you can write words on paper to do all of that. So remember to do that, right? Now I want to get to the point where you may be looking for, right? How does this apply to getting wealth? How does this apply to getting wealth? Now, so I'm going to flip the page and I'm going to tell you. This is something that you may not know. People may not be sharing it with you. But what you need to do, you need a trust account. You need a trust. T-R-U-S-T, trust. And you need a special type of trust account. Not a statutory trust account. You need a common law trust account, right? So this is what you should open. Common law trust. It is also called express trust account. And there are some resources that I'm going to share with you in getting more information on that. There's some more information that I can share with you on that. So you're going to, so it should be number one, so it should be a common law trust, and you're going to have you're going to get a tax-free, note the word, tax-free EIN, tax-free EIN, right? And how do you know that this tax-free EIN exists? You can look at the IRS code 6033A. This code tells you that there is a tax-free EIN that exists that you can get in order to, as it says, pay no taxes, right? And there begins the wealth that you have been missing out on, right? You're going to have a corporate profile number. It's called a CPN, in other words. This may be new to you, but you can, now that you are being made aware of it, you will go and do the necessary investigation to get the other stuff that you need in order to move forward, right? And this trust needs to be, I said, as a common law trust. It needs to be an unincorporated trust. Unincorporated. Nowadays, when you have a business, you want to get the business incorporated, right? And that is what you have been told in different business circles about getting your business incorporated. But here you will get a unincorporated trust. Now, when you get all of these, the next step would be to open a bank account in the name of the trust. So bank account for the trust, bank account for the trust, right? And this bank account needs to be non-interest bearing. That means you do not want to collect any interest whatsoever in this account. None, right? No interest whatsoever you should collect in this account. If you do set it up to collect interest, then you will pay the consequence of that. You will not enjoy the wealth that was destined for you to have by your Creator. So these are the things that you would need. So you need a tax-free EIN, you need a corporate profile number, and you need a trust account to be set up as a unincorporated trust account. Now there are, let me see what else there are. So incorporated trust. Okay. Okay. And another thing I want to tell you about this trust. So the tax-free EIN. So it is Inland Revenue Code, which is the IRS code, Inland Revenue Code 6033A. It's 100% immune from income tax. And this trust that I'm talking about, it is title 26 170B. Title 26 170B. And it tells you that it's a ministry trust, which are tax-free trust. Tax-free trust. And this is what the Creator wants for you, to live in a way that is free from the encumbrances of taxes, right? You pay what is necessary to be paid, and then you live a life that is free of all these tyrannies that may come upon you. And you may think that the type of trust that, or when you hear the word ministry trust, you may think that we are talking about 503 type of trust. There are some other other things that come here, 503 1C, or I'm not sure about that. But this is not the trust that we are talking about. This is the one that is on the statutory side, that the most churches and other organization, non-profits and so forth uses. So this is not the one that you will want. You will want it to have a designation of 508. 508 is the designation that you want for this trust. And when you get that, then you are truly living the tax-free life. So let me see what else that I'm going to share with you. So So the EIN, we discussed the EIN, the corporate profile number, and okay. Need a 508. Yes. All right. So we're making good progress here. And let's see what else I will share with you. The most important thing here, the most important thing is that I've brought these things to your awareness, and I've given you some information that you can do further research on in order to learn more. And later today, I will share with you an opportunity to go even further with me as a group to get set up in this way that you can generate the wealth that was destined for you to generate. The thing is, a lot of persons were not informed about it, and when we were born, our parents didn't know about it, and our parents they signed us up the way they thought they knew, but is not their fault. They just didn't know about this thing. So now that we have become aware of it, it is our duty to take the necessary steps to move forward in the right direction, to take the necessary steps so that those that come after us will benefit. So you hear about the generation Z, the generation Alpha, and so forth. So these generation can be better off by knowing this information. So I am going to share with you an interview I did with Rick, the wealth coach, who found this information out, and he shared this information, and I was at the right place at the right time to gather this information. And right now, because you are here, you get to see and hear of this information for yourself, and you can go and do your due diligence so that you are more informed, and then you can take action, move into action, so that you and your family can be better off, right? Because you want to take the vacation when you want, right? You want to spend, to be able to spend, and when you spend, you get at least 4 times the amount you need back. Wouldn't that be lovely? Imagine that happening for you. Imagine to be in control of your life again, right? So we're going to switch over to the interview, and after the interview we will take a break. We'll go into our lunch break, and I'll give you some more instructions after we watch this interview. We can take some questions and so forth, and then we will have more fun, because having this information is so much fun, and I'm happy to be sharing it with you. And as long as you continue to be in this environment, then you will have no choice but to get this information that I'll be sharing with you going on. So let's hear this interview from Rick. See you in a bit. We want to welcome Rick Williams to the show. He is known as the Wealth Coach. And in this show, we're going to get to know Rick Williams, the Wealth Coach, some more. And I have a few questions that I want to pose to the Wealth Coach, Rick Williams. And in answering these questions, you will understand more about him, his mission, and what he's all about. So,
Yes, sir.
King Rick, as
Yes,
you
sir.
are appropriately called, how did you get started in wanting to write the book on control everything, own nothing?
It's a very good question, Michael. Well, I was doing real estate. I started doing real estate consistently back in 2016. I was before then I was doing stage plays, which we currently still do, because I always been concerned about the neighborhood. So we were doing stage plays to help people who are dealing with violent crimes. And this guy comes by my play and he says, "Hey Rick," he said, "Did you train all those actors and stuff?" I said, "I sure did." He said, "You're a genius. You ought to be rich." I said, "Hallelujah." I said, "I totally agree with that rich part." I said, "What you got in mind?" He said, "I can show you how to do some real estate deals with none of your own money." I said, "Good, because I don't have any money," because they fired me from a warehouse job like Craig on Friday. They fired me on my off day from a warehouse job where I didn't even do anything wrong. They said somebody else was stealing something, but it ended up being a blessing because when they fired me, I started focusing on different things. So he showed me how to do a real estate deal. And I went out and I started doing deal after deal after deal after deal. I made more money in 2 weeks than I would have made all year working at a job. So I thank God that he released me from that job because it wasn't the devil that fired me, it was God. And I'm so grateful that he did it because it opened up my mind to being able to come up with amazing multi-million dollar ideas. So I started buying all these properties, Brother Michael. And I was like, I don't want to get IRS my money. I don't want to work for them. All right. I said, I need to learn, how do you keep the money that you make? I mean, what the heck? The 70% of the money that you make in life, you give it up in taxes because it's more than just income taxes, you know? So 70% of your life is basically like you work for paying taxes. So I'm like, it's got to be a way. So I started studying the richest people, and I found out Donald Trump ain't paying no taxes. I found out Amazon ain't paying no taxes. I found out 50 of the largest companies in the world get tax refunds, even though they all make billions of dollars. I'm like, what the heck? Let me throw my hat in there. You know, if they can make billions and don't have to pay no taxes, I know if I'm gonna make some millions, I ain't got to pay no doggone taxes. I need to figure out what's going on. So I went to a seminar with a young man named Cedric Brown. He started telling me about. We had a seminar at a private club in Chicago, and he said, "Man, I can show you how to operate out of trust, unincorporated trust." I'm like, "That sounds wonderful." I said, "So who do you know that's doing that?" He said, "How about Tim Brown, the Hall of Fame wide receiver?" I said, "Tim got one of these trusts?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Man, that'd be the biggest blessing in the world if I can meet him." He said, "You want to talk to him right now?" I said, "You got his phone number?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "For sure, I want to talk to him." So I got on the phone and talked to Tim Brown. I said, "Tim, can I come interview you so you can tell me how to live like you?" He said, "Sure." So if you guys go to Rick the Wealth Coach and go to my YouTube channel, you can see me interviewing Tim Brown back in 2019. And he told me how this thing goes. And I said, "Wow." He said, "Ricky, I'll buy a hamburger unless I buy it out of my unincorporated trust because it keeps me from owning anything." He said, "They can't sue me." He said, "All the lawsuits." He said, "Do you know how many of these football players get sued, Ricky?" I said, "I can only imagine." He said, "Man, please." He said, "They be taking their shirt off their back." He said, "Can't nobody take nothing from me." I said, "You look like it, Tim." I said, "You look so peaceful." He said, "That's because I am, because I'm buy a hamburger unless I buy it out the trust, brother." I said, "Wow." I said, "Tim, would you do the foreword for my book?" And here it is right now. The great Tim Brown on the foreword of the cover of this book, Control Everything, Own Nothing, foreword by the amazing Tim Brown. That's how I got this. That's where I got this idea for the book. I want to live like my friend did. And I want to teach the whole world because Rockefeller said, don't own nothing, just control everything. And that is how we operate.
Wow, wow. So much information there. Operating out of a trust. Wow. We need to delve more into that further on. So,
Yes, sir.
what makes you want to share, or rather, what makes you what you share, what makes what you share on control everything and own nothing make you different from anyone else?
That's a really good question too. And I believe that every single human being on earth is 100% different from everybody else around them, because I believe in the uniqueness of God. I believe in the mightiness, the mammothness, and the individuality of God. I believe that God is so phenomenal. And so if he can make a little bitty ant and a flea, that he is a very particular God. So I believe he made me particularly. But I don't just believe that about myself, Brother Michael. I believe that about you. It's not hard for me to love you, Brother Michael, because I love me. And it's not hard for me to love me because I love God. There is a name I love to hear, and I love to sing its words, and it sounds like the sweetest name on earth. See, when you love God, it's not hard to love the next person. So that makes you feel compelled to share what it is that you learn. I mean, what the heck? When I learned that I can get back 4 times all the money I spend, I could have just went into the spending business and said, you know, I really don't need to spend much time telling nobody else about what I'm doing. But when I found that out, I felt compelled, Brother Michael, because I'm not from the suburbs. I'm from the hood. All right. We grew up eating mayonnaise sandwiches and eating toast from the bottom of the oven. Are you digging what I'm saying? My mother raised 7 children by herself on the mean, cold, callous south side of Chicago. I've been tied up in my own crib with duct tape, brother. I know what it's like to be so low, you got to look up to see the bottom. And I don't have a pretentious bone in my body. I'm all about making sure the next person come up, because I realize that life is very precarious and that we are all, I don't care how we struggle or how we strive, we ain't getting out this life alive. I got a question for you, Brother Michael. Are you ready now to see my Savior's face? Have you got some straightening up to do before you leave this place? Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. So since I know I'm dying as we speak, though the outward man perish, the inward man is renewed day by day. The difference between me, Brother Michael, and every other human being on the face of the earth is the level of compellingness that's inside of me to make sure that you know what other people ain't going to tell you. I'm telling you what other people ain't going to tell you because I'm concerned about you. Whereas the old boys club ain't about to tell you how to get back 4 times every dollar you spend. But I'm telling it on the mountaintop. And I'm so glad to be here, my brother, to share with you and your illustrious audience, because I love you.
Wow, wow. You're here sharing the good news as Jesus did and as he commanded his disciples to do, to share the good news with everyone. Wow, wow.
Yes, sir.
So, a follow on to what you have been saying, what are you working on now and what's in your future?
Okay, that's a good question. I'm working on my current book. My book is called Unmovable, Unshakable, Unstoppable: Bible Principles That Guarantee You Financial Success. That's the book that I'm working on right now. The reason I'm working on that, Brother Michael, is because I believe in principles. I believe that what goes up comes down, and I believe that you reap what you sow. And as amazing and as simple as that is, that's the biggest problem that we face as human beings. We try to reap what somebody else sows. You know, I want to look as good as you look in your blue suit, but your shoulders are just right for that blue suit, Brother Michael. Your stature is just right for that blue suit. So I can't reap what you sow. I can only reap what I sow. And when people can really get that understanding, that I can guarantee my success. All I have to do is just pay attention to what I sow. And I can guarantee my success because the Bible says you should be like a tree that's planted by the rivers of water, whose leaf also shall not wither. And whatsoever you do will prosper, when you won't listen to the ungodly counsel of the ungodly, stand in the way of the sinner, or sit in the seat of the scornful. But when your delight is in the law of the Lord and you delight in him day and night, you have to be prosperous. You have no choice. When I wake up in the morning, prosperity just chases me down the street. I just try to decide how much of it I want and how much I want to disperse, because your prosperity is in your willingness to be able to disperse it. And then God, he done sent something more phenomenal down the street after me, Brother Michael. It ain't prosperity, it's posterity.
Wow.
Posterity is so possible until it's done ran me over, and now my doggone grandkids is rich. You know what? And I'm going to teach them to make sure their grandkids rich before they even born. Don't make me start church up in here, Brother Mike, but you asking some provoking questions, brother. Go ahead.
Wow, wow. Even the grandchildren will, the one yet unborn, will be well off
Yes, sir.
from what you're doing. Wow.
Yes,
Such
sir.
a wonderful work.
And you as
So,
well.
yes. So, what do you think is an obstacle or a challenge for people when it comes to control everything or nothing?
Oh, I think the major obstacle is the fact that people won't come to the realization that you don't own anything anyway. I believe we have some false ideas about life. And one of those false ideas is the fact that you own something. You know, if you look on your mortgage, Brother Michael, if you look on your mortgage, if the average person would just read their mortgage right now, they are a tenant on their mortgage. Just read it. I challenge your audience to read their audience, to read their mortgage. Their mortgage ain't even a real note. Because when you look at it, you say, well, I own my house. Well, if you own your house, why are you a tenant in your house? All right. I'm just talking about just a practical thing. But let's get beyond that. Let's just talk about reality. Gave us that breath. God just gave us that breath, right? We don't even own the last breath we just took. That was borrowed. Matter of fact, we don't own no time. How do we know that? Because the time that you and I have been talking about is gone forever, Brother Michael. Don't nobody own nothing. Are you listening to me? Everything that we have is rented. Everything that we have is just being managed. Everything that we have is temporary. So since everything is temporary, why in the world would you be paying taxes on temporary stuff? Why in the world would you be behaving like you own stuff that you don't even own? I know everybody told us that. Own a house. But a house is a liability. It's not an asset. You say, what are you talking about, Ricky? Because it doesn't grow fast enough. We make money 4 times the money we spend. Those are assets. Things that double, triple, quadruple, 10 times, 100 times the amount of money and time you put into it. Are you listening to me? Not nothing that you pay for something, you got to pay for it 3 times. Even though you got a loan for $100,000, you got to pay $300,000 back. That's a liability. That ain't no asset. Are you listening to me? But you thinking that that's the number one thing everybody tells you to do: buy a house. My main man, Elon Musk, ain't even got a house, and Warren Buffett only got one. Are you listening to me? Rich people, we don't care nothing about that. You know, thing what we concerned about? We concerned about assets, things that go up in value. You know, matter of fact, Brother Michael, not only is a house debt, but money is debt. You say, what do you mean, Brother Ricky? Because money unused, it costs you more money being sitting still than it does if it was circulating. So money by itself is debt. Matter of fact, everybody coming to your life, Brother Michael, who ain't no asset to you, they debt. Are you listening to me? So not only should you not be acting like you own nothing, because you don't, but you should be a control freak. Are you listening to me? A control freak over who? Over you. Because you got 100% control of yourself, Brother Michael. So when you have the delusion that you own something, that means you start putting a whole bunch of tension into stuff you ain't got no control over, which means that you're losing all the control over something that you could have 100% control over. The reason that we got plenty of printed paper with pertinent presidents on it, the reason that we got more money than we can spend is because it don't mean nothing to us. What means something to us is the circulation of it. Are you listening to me? The circulation of it is what matters. It don't mean nothing just laying dormant. What good is a dollar bill? What you gonna do? Just hold it, caress it, and kiss it all day? Listen, but that ain't your woman. How you picking up on that ain't your wife? Let's count it one more time. It means nothing. You know, it means nothing by itself. It's the circulation of it and the utility of it and the time that it buys you so that you can be able to do something spectacular with your time and create amazing legacies with the people that you love the most. Spend that quality time with the people you love the most. As you well know, over this last few days, I've been with my grandkids. We just been hanging out in a vacation home, with 9 bedrooms. Brother Michael, they want to play hide and go seek. I'm like, cool. I'm like, let's go play hide and go seek, you guys. And I say, where are you? We in room number 47, Granddad. I'm like, that's not funny. That's not funny. I'm not chasing y'all. This is hide and go seek. I wish y'all to play hide and go seek when we was little, when we had number 1 bedroom. Would have been much easier to follow. So we don't own anything. And because we don't own anything, why in the world be up under that premise? You would treat people a lot better, all of us, just traveling through this land. We would treat people a lot better if we came to the realization that we temporary visitors and that we would treat our money the same way And then we would be rich monetarily. And more importantly, we'd be rich in mercy and love because we realize that we got to be careful how we entertain one another because some have entertained angels thereby unawares.
Wow, wow, wow. So true. And I think back when we came into the world as babies, we came grabbing things, right? This is mine, this is mine, this is mine. And the culture around us enforces that take, take, take. I own this, I own that. Wow. Such a revelation is being shared here right now. We don't own anything, and if we get that into our brains, we will understand that we are here on a journey to help each other along the journey to reach our best self. Wow, wow. So the final question I want to ask you, King Rick, is if someone wants to find you and help you promote your mission, where can they get more information about you?
Well, I'm located every day, Monday through Saturday, typically at 10 a.m. live on Instagram, teaching wealth principles from the Bible. And then secondly, I can be reached in Clubhouse because we have a Clubhouse room called Wealth Principles. If somebody really wants to educate themselves, they can just go to Rick the Wealth Coach on Instagram or Rick the Wealth Coach on YouTube, and you can get a plethora of videos that'll teach you how it is that we do what we do, how we live. However, if the person wants to meet me in person, Brother Michael, they need to click the link that you attach to this video and come through your affiliate link and then come and check out what we're doing live with our Financial IQ Challenge. And thank you for being so kind as to provide a link for these people. And these wonderful folks should thank you for being so kind to allow them to learn how to come and control everything, but not to own nothing. That's the ways that they ought to be able to reach me, Brother Michael. But if they want to see me in person, they need to reach me through you.
Wow, wow. What a wonderful treat that you have given us, King Rick, because without knowledge, we walk around like a blind person, right? So they should follow the words that you have given in this interview and to come and sign up for the challenge. Come and sign up for class and come and hear what they haven't heard before, and then they can apply it to live the life that you are living, like the 1%. Control everything and own nothing. I just want to thank you for being here, availing yourself of your time, which is so precious, to share with the knowledge that you have gained and that you are practicing. Thank you.
God bless you, brother, and thank you. And enjoy the rest of your beautiful day, my brother. And remember that stellar is as stellar does. Love you, Brother Michael. Thank you for having me.
All right, take care.
Yes, sir.
All right. How was that interview? Did you get information that you did not know before? How was that? How was that? Yes, indeed. So you see, friends, see everyone, we live in a world where there is abundance all around us. There are people like you and I who have the information that you may need in order to move to the next level, right? I did not come in, I was similar to you. I did not know this information. And now that I have come into this information, I am taking steps. I am moving into action to experience this wealth that has been enjoyed for over the centuries by those in a small portion of people in the world. So now that you know that this information exists, right, I want to invite you to come along with me in learning more about this in a mastermind that I am curating for like-minded people who want to be in control of their life, who want to generate the wealth that is needed to leave a legacy for your offspring and for your offspring. This mastermind will help you to reconnect with your childhood passions while enjoying the things you love without the need to worry about finances, to worry about if your bills are going to be paid. This mastermind group of like-minded individuals is intended to share information that you can apply it to your life and to your family's life that will last a lifetime. This mastermind is for those who want to retire comfortably after the working age that the state prescribe. This mastermind group is for those who want to finally tick off that vacation off their bucket list and to leave a legacy, as I said before, for the generation and the generation to come. If you aspire to have these wonderful things in your life, then this mastermind group is for you. This will not cost you $100,000 out of pocket. No. It will cost you out of pocket only $50,000. And there are so many benefits to you getting into this mastermind at this investment that I have quoted. No longer would you have to worry about whether things will be taken care of for you. You have gotten aware of what exists out there. You have gotten the information that is existing out there, and now it's your turn to move into action with this mastermind. The link is posted there. We'll have the link posted there. You can check it out in the chat. For those who want a little more time to make a decision, then you can make the decision during our lunch break, which will come up right now. About 30 minutes we'll be taking for lunch, and then you can take action on this that we are proposing for you. Now, as a reminder, for when we come back, you will hear and see this clip. When you hear that, you know that it is time to get back, and we are about to resume our day 2 of the conference. So be sure to take a look at what we have said before. I'm sure you have been taking notes, and make the decision during the break as to join us for the mastermind. It's a year-long mastermind, and the earlier you join me in this mastermind, the better it is for you and your family, right? You can do this. You just have to believe that you can do this. And we walk step by step in achieving this goal that you have for yourself. And you may be thinking right now you do not have the money, right? The resources that you need to get on board in this mastermind group. But what I'm here to tell you is that be resourceful. Be resourceful. In this mastermind group, if it is that you want to generate the additional income, you can actually write a best-selling book and have it generate income for you over and over and over again for the next generation and the generation after that. So there are ways for you to acquire the necessary resources in order to come on board with us in this mastermind group. You may need to ask your spouse or significant other or your business partner for support in coming on board for this mastermind group. You do not need permission. You just need the support. So ask for the support that you need to come on board. If you feel that this is the right decision for you to make, come on board and let's walk together in achieving the wealth and leaving the legacy that you want for your offspring and those after you. There's no fear here, right? No fear whatsoever. Just come on board, and you need to know you were meant for more. You were meant for more by being a part of this group right here, right now. You may have failures in the past, but it does not paint the picture of what your future will be or your present condition, right? So no shame, no fear. Make the decision and make it right, right? Make the decision and make it right. So we'll take a lunch break, 30 minutes lunch break, and then afterwards we will continue with the conference. And remember, it's time to spring into courage. Let's take our lunch break. Welcome back. Welcome back. Keep calm. Drink tea. Welcome back to Spring into Courage Conference. It's the conference that you want to be at in order to finally live happier, healthier, wealthier without compromise. And that's guaranteed. So, from our last session, we have been talking about a trust account that once you set this up, you can actually start generating perpetual wealth for you and your family and the generations after that. This is what the 1% of the wealthy families that you know of have been doing over the years. And we shared an interview that I did with Rick, the wealth coach, who came into this information similar to how you are coming into this information, and you are going to take action on the information that you have just received in order to make you and your family and the generations after that better off than they are today. So I just thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me and all of us to share with each other the information, the wealth of information that's here for you. And remember our theme, AIM, awareness, inform. So we bring the information to you and move into action. So you're going to aim at these different areas in your life. Aim at health, wealth, and happiness. So we're aiming in the wealth section right now, day 2, and it's so wonderful to be here. Let me know in the chat what are some of your takeaways that you have so far. What are some of your ahas that you have from the session, whether from day 1 where we spoke about wealth, or day 2 that we're now in where we're talking about wealth? What are some of your takeaways? Do put them in the chat so that we can see them and we can highlight some of them. Okay, so go ahead and put those in the chat. Yes, it's so good to be here. It's so good. And so good. So we're talking about wealth. And one of the solutions to this wealth game that I have invited you to is the mastermind group that I shared earlier before you went on lunch. So we spoke about that, and the investment for that, we said it was $50,000 US to come on to the program, where you will experience even more of your desires to build that legacy that you so desire for you and your family and for your offspring and those that come after them. So that's there for you. It's a community of like-minded individuals who share common themes, common values, such as trust, such as courage, such as healthy living, health conscious, right? These are just some of the values that we share in this community, and we want you to be a part of it. So be sure to join into this community, and the link is provided there in the chat for you to join into this program. It's a 10-month program where we can work together in this group so that your health, your wealth can be secured, your health can be optimized, and I'm sure you will be living happier after that. Now, there is one thing that I wanted to share with you, and that is the idea of discharging debts, right? Discharging debts. And before we go and do that, we just want to go into a little breakout room right now, where you will have spent 10 minutes with each other, 2 minutes per person. We have 4 to 5 persons in each group, so 2 minutes per person. Each person will share 2 minutes about what they have learned and what they are going to do now that they have this information that they have received, that you have received. So we're going to go into a break, 10 minutes, and 2 minutes per person, and then you don't have to worry about the time limit. When it's time, we'll bring you back over to the main room so that we can continue our wonderful and magnificent day 2 of the Spring into Courage conference. So we're going to go into a short break right now, and see you when we get back. Oh, we're back from that breakout room. So what did you learn in that breakout room? What did you learn in that breakout room? You can let me know. What did you learn? And yes, let me know what you learned. Good, you put it in the chat. Now, what I want to share with you now is about the idea of discharging debts. The idea of discharging debts. Can you discharge debts? Right? So, I want to introduce you to a book that I have been reading, and it's interesting to know this book. So this book is called, you can see it, The 0%, right? So it's an interesting book that suggests that you can actually discharge debts. And according to title, this is title, T-I-T-L-E. This is title 12 of the US Code, and this section 411, yes, 411. You can look up that code, and it's very easy right now. We have artificial intelligence that you can use to fetch this information quickly for you. You could say at the AI prompt, you could say, what is title, and you give it all of this information, usually section 411, and the artificial intelligence will bring the information to you. It's very quick, but if you want the authoritative source of this information, you go on the government website, the US government website, and you look for this information. Now you will look, and you will see the Federal Reserve note. Let's see. Federal Reserve note. So you can see up top it says Federal Reserve note, right? And that's the $1. So that's the Federal Reserve note. It tells you that this Federal Reserve note is the obligation of the United States and shall be receivable by all national and member banks and Federal Reserve banks for all taxes, customs, and other public dues. They shall be redeemable in lawful money on demand at the Treasury Department of the United States or at any Federal Reserve bank. So right there it tells you that these are debts of the government, the US government, and it's not your debt, but it's the obligation of the US. And because you do not know this, then you continue to be responsible for the debt. And some person, you just weren't told. I wasn't told either. And this is now you're coming into the information, so you should be better informed now. there are a lot of things that were taking place at birth. For example, in 1666, the Seskevi Trust was set up, where your all caps name. So say for instance you were Joe. Let's just say for instance John Smith. That was set up for you to use in this new world, and it's basically, you will see it on all government issued documents, right? So for your birth certificate, you will notice that the name that is on there, it is in all caps. You will see it on your driver's license that it is all caps, and your driver's license is issued to be used by the beneficiary of that name. It is issued to the beneficiary of that name and to be used in commerce, because everything that we're doing here since we were born is done in commerce, right? And this is something that is not taught in schools or in universities. This is something that you would have to find out for yourself, or somebody would have to be selfless to bring the information to you so that you can be informed, be aware of it, and then you can move into action. Now, this is money, paper money, or fiat currency. It's a negotiable instrument, and yes, so they are negotiable instruments, and what you will need in order to discharge these debts is to have non-negotiable instruments. So this is based on what this is saying. This is what needs to happen, and one way to make this happen is you need, let's find it here in this book. So you have, let me just go back here. So we said this is a negotiable instrument, right? We said it is a negotiable instrument. Now, if you examine one of these notes, you will find that it has two sides of it. On one side, if you're looking on the side with the portrait of one of the portraits, you will find on the left side it says Treasury of the United States, Treasury of the United States, and on the right side it says Secretary of the Treasury, Secretary of the Treasury. Now you know that the Secretary, or you didn't know, the Secretary of the Treasury is the governor for the International Monetary Fund, which is the public side of the US Treasury. It's the public side of the US Treasury, and the Treasurer of the United States is the treasurer of the private side of the Treasury. So let me just jot this down. So you have a private side. This is how you are going to gain the wealth that is rightly yours, right? So on the Federal Reserve note, right? You have a private side and you also have a public side, right? On the private side, which is on the left, you will see treasurer. What is it? Treasurer of the United States, right? On the public side, you will see secretary of the United States, right? Secretary of the United States. You can look at your paper money and you will see that. Now that everything is going digital, you may not see this, but if you have a paper money, you can look at it and see this so that you are aware of it. You're getting the information now, and then you can move into action. So you want to operate, make sure you're operating on the private side, right? So that your wealth can be generated. You can actually operate on both sides, so that you can utilize both sides. On the public side, which is what majority of people are operating in, most persons are operating on the public side, and very few are operating on the private side. So we want to move our affairs from the public side over to the private side, and what you can do is actually utilize the public side to support the private side and keep everything private. So you do the two sides for your benefit. Now the way to do that, as we have said, is with a trust, right? I need a trust account in order to operate like an invisible individual in the commerce world. So the trust, you would want the trust to go and operate on the trust is private trust. So the trust is private, and you want the trust to go out on the public side to do its transaction. You are already on the private side of the trust, right? You are on the private side because the trust is private, so you are on there. And what the trust does, the trust goes out, conducts all its affairs in the public here, and the government will not be able to have any jurisdiction over the private trust because it's not set up that way. The government is statutory and they do everything according to statutes. The private trust is not established under statutes, and so it is outside of the jurisdiction of governments. That is why the trust is very powerful in operating in public while it is private, and that is the way you want to be set up. Now I want to share with you about the discharging of debts, right? The discharging of debts. So I already told you about Title 12 USC 411, Section 411, about the Federal Reserve notes or debts. They are the obligation of the United States, and there are at least three receivers for the United States, and they are considered the creditors to take control of the United States. the United States have to pay their debts for to these receivers because of things that happened in the past that you are not aware of. You and I were not aware of that. So how do we discharge debts, right? So there are, I believe, about 12 Federal Reserve banks. You have some such as Chase, you have Wells Fargo, American Bank of America, and you can find the list of Federal Reserve banks. Now, with these banks, you can use the money order from these banks, or you can use the money order from, you can use a US Postal Service money order. So you can use money order, and this can be from the USPS, US Postal Service, or from a Federal Reserve bank, right? Now when you get this, there are some things that you need to have on there. It says that on Title 12 USC 4 Section 411, there needs to be a conspicuous statement, and it says redeemed in lawful money or on demand at the US Treasury or at any Federal Reserve bank. So that statement, so it is so you need to have this on there. How does that spell? It's a conspicuous statement. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? All right. Conspicuous. Let's see. Conspicuous statement. So it needs to have a conspicuous statement, which is in Title 12 USC Section 411. And the conspicuous statement says that redeemable in lawful money or on demand at the US Treasury or at any Federal Reserve bank. So that statement needs to be there. Plus, you need a restrictive statement or restricted endorsement. Right? You need a restricted endorsement on it, meaning that you are going to, when you sign, right? When you sign, you're going to, because you have to sign your money orders, right? When you sign, you're going to sign, and then you're going to reserve your rights, right? Reserve your rights. So along with your signature, you're going to reserve your rights. All rights reserved. Right? Or you're going to write without prejudice. This also reserves your rights, right? So this is less words without prejudice. So once you have that with your signature, you are reserving your God-given right, your God-given rights, right? You're reserving that. And many times you and I have signed our checks, we have signed many documents, government documents, and we have not reserved our rights. We just leave our signatures like that without reserving our rights. And so our vessel is being used because we have not reserved our right. We do not have control over it, right? So that is how you would reserve or discharge rather debt. There's so much more that I could teach you on this, and this is just giving you the awareness that this thing exists. I gave you the book that I am looking at to learn this information, as well as there are others that you need to be aware of. One thing you should have in your library is this book. You can get this is the latest edition. It's the Black's Law Dictionary. This is the latest edition, but I think you could go with the 7th edition, which is more relatable. The 7th edition, you know that with newer editions, the wording may change and it may not be so understandable, right? So you may want the 7th edition, and right now I'm using the 11th edition, which will give me a bit more understanding about what is happening when words are being used. So this dictionary will help you in what the day we're living in now, which is the time of commerce, and everything from you are born until the day you die is all commerce. Everything is commerce. So this is something that has not been taught in our schools and in our universities or in our MBAs and so forth, that we're dealing with commerce. And one thing that you would want to inform yourself about is contracts, the common law of contracts. How are contracts formed and so forth? What constitutes a contract? For example, when you come into a contract, which is an agreement with an entity, that entity should disclose everything to you. It should disclose the consideration that they are going to make, as well as the consideration that you are going to make in order to come to a conclusion as to what the contract will entail. So both sides bring their consideration, they look at it, and then they draft up the contract. And if you look at many of the contracts that you and I have signed, the consideration for both sides weren't looked at, right? We signed blindly, and when we signed, we didn't reserve our rights. So we have been losing because we did not know this. So our wealth was not being built up to last for generations and generations to come. So now that you are aware of this, you can get more information and move into action for this, right? So So I mentioned 2 books to you. So I mentioned this book, the 0%. Also, I have mentioned the Black's Law Dictionary that you can use, have it in your library, and spend time with your family and your close friends in learning this information, right? So less time watching TV and more time learning this, because it's something that is needed in this time if you want to generate generational wealth. Now, one last thing before we go to our final break. Now, let me tell you a little about trust. So you can think of a trust like this, right? Think of a trust like this. At the top, you will have you will call it the grantor, right? It can be, or the executor. What other name you have here? You have the settler. Let's say settler, right? Now to this side, you have the trustee, right? You can also have co-trustees here, right? So you have trustees, you have co-trustees, you can have a board of trustees here as well. And here on this side, you have the beneficiaries, right? You can have the beneficiaries or one or more beneficiaries, right? The beneficiaries are usually your children or your close friends or family that you want here. These are your beneficiaries. So the beneficiaries benefit from your trust. Your beneficiaries benefit from your trust. So the grantor, the executor, or the settler set up the trust, appoints trustees or a trustee. The trustee has a fiduciary duty to take care of the beneficiary. The trustee have a fiduciary duty to take care of the beneficiary. Now, a trustee cannot be not. What is not? Let's use that for now. Cannot be a beneficiary. Trustees are not beneficiaries. The trustee exists to serve the beneficiaries, to go into transactions to benefit the trust, private trust. So the trustee has the responsibility to go into different transactions on behalf of the trust to support the trustees. Now, the grantor and the executive and the executor, there is some school of thought that says that the grantor cannot be the trustee or should not be the trustee, and there are some school of thought that it's possible for the grantor to be the trustee. So this is something that I am exploring as well, so that I can come back to you and give you further information on that. But you can actually look into this. There is a book that you can actually get or purchase. It is called The Art of Passing the Buck. Passing the buck. B-U-C-K. The art of passing the buck. The art of passing the buck. You have volume 1 and you have volume 2. Volume 2, I believe, gives you the step-by-step procedures in order to set this up, and volume 1 give you the overview that you should read first before you move step-by-step into doing this, because you have to know what you're doing. This is serious business because you're generating wealth, massive amount of wealth, right? So it's good to inform yourself about trust, especially private common law trust, so that you and your family can live a wealthier life than you are living now. So in this wealth session, we have shared with you 3 books. We have shared with you the 0%, the Black's Law Dictionary, and the third one is the Art of Passing the Buck, volumes 1 and 2. Of course, there are many others that we can share with you, but I don't want you to be overwhelmed. There's no overwhelmed here. If you feel overwhelmed, it's just that you are getting information that you haven't gotten before, and you're actually learning, right? You're actually learning. So we are going to go on our last break, and then when we get back, we'll have some shares, and then we'll have a recap of what took place today so that you can share with your family and friends and come on board with us in the mastermind group that we shared earlier today with you. The investment is only $50,000 US, and you can come in and benefit from this wealth of knowledge that we are sharing, and actually move into action with this information so that you can benefit here. So we're going to take a short 15-minute break, and then we get right back. Now, when you see the lions and hear the sound, that's the time to get back here. You will see it. So let's take a break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Spring into Courage Conference. It's the place you want to be. It's the right place right here, right now. And I'm so happy that you are here with us to learn so many things. Yesterday, day one, we spoke on health and we went through some ideas with you, and we even did a blend, right? It's a nutritious blend, and we shared that with you on yesterday, day one. Now we are dealing with wealth, and how has it been for you so far in this conference? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest, on a scale of 1 to 10, how has it been for you being at this conference? Have your mind been expanded? Have you become more aware of what is there? And you have been informed of what is possible for you and your family? And right now you're moving into action with this information? On a scale of 1 to 10, let me know in the chat. Now, if you have scored something other than 8, 9, or 10, you can just share in the comments what will it take for us to make it a 10, a 9, 8, 9, or 10 for you. Just share that in the comments, or in the comments, yes, so that we can address it, so that all of us together, being of like mind, can work together to make this world what it ought to be, to make your life what it ought to be. And when you are okay, everyone around you will be okay, and that expands until it reaches over 1 billion people, 1 billion families. Now, before we close off day number 2, we're going to recap on some of the things that we spoke about, right? So day 1, day 2, recap. Day 1, we spoke on health. Day 2, where we are at now, we are speaking on wealth, right? We're using the AIM framework, which is the awareness, inform, move into action, or engage. So that's the AIM framework that we are applying across all 3 days for health, for wealth, and for happiness, which is day number 3. So make sure you're here for day number 3 for happiness, where we will share something fabulous with you on happiness. So let's continue with the recap for number 2. So we shared an interview with you on the earlier today with Rick, the wealth coach, talking about trust. He came into this information and he inquired more about this information, and he is living that life right now of having his private trust and be able to operate in the public privately, right? Now, I shared with you that if you look on the government website, the US government website, and you look up the Title 28 USC, the United States Code 3002, you will find that the United States is a corporation, and it is listed there in their government documents that tells you and I what is going on. But because we are focused on keeping our jobs and watching TV or favorite sporting activities and so forth, we have been distracted from really knowing what is going on. So you're in the right place now to learn all of this information and to discover what has been there in plain sight, right? So we said because it's a corporation, it is in the receivership of the international bankers, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund. These three are the receivers for the United States Corporation, the United States. And this code tells you that the United States that you hear of in North America, it's actually a corporation. And many of the countries that you hear of, they are actually corporations operating in the world of commerce, because everything that we do now is commerce. Even Canada is a corporation, and you can find this information out by going to Dun and Bradstreet, where you can look them up and you can see that it is a commerce. Your province or city of so and so, state of so and so. If you look it up, you will find out that they are a corporation and they exist to make money, benefiting the shareholders. Now, if you have ever been audited, or you have received a letter from the IRS to be audited, you can ask for a level 3 auditor and a level 3 audit to be done on the alleged amount that you owe. And what that will do is it will open up the books to see what's really going on. Now you would send a certified letter to the IRS, which is the Internal Revenue Service, to send that letter to them so that they can proceed to do their work. And we said that the IRS is an international collections agency that is headquartered in Puerto Rico and Philippines. So they operate all over the world in a lot of countries, right? And they have agreements with the different tax authorities in the different jurisdictions, right? So continuing with our recap, our summary. Okay, so we said that in order to generate massive amount of wealth, generational wealth that has been done by many before you, the people we call the top 1%, they have learned this, and the information has been kept out of public view for a long time, and you do not know this. So we talk about a trust. You need a trust, and more specifically, you need a common law trust, or what is referred to as an express trust. It is private and it is not statutory. Most of the trusts that exist now, they are statutory, right? They are not common law trust. Common law is similar to, it is the same as natural law, right? So you need a trust. Now, Title 26, 170B tells you that the trust is a tax-free trust, is a tax-free ministry trust. That means you do not pay any taxes using this trust, right? And we said that you need a tax-free EIN, tax-free, you see that? EIN, and you look on the Internal Revenue Code 6033A to confirm to yourself that you can actually get a tax-free EIN. have this. You will have a corporate profile number set up, and that's a CPN. And when you're setting up the trust, it should be an unincorporated ministry trust, right? And afterwards, once that is set up, you'll need a bank account that is a non-interest bearing bank account, and the trust will be set up with a 508 designation and not a 503 designation, as most statutory non-profit or church organization are set up 503. But you don't need that. You need a 508 designation set up, and you can get the 508 designation from the IRS when you're getting the EIN. We said that in discharging debts, you can look at Title 12 USC Code 411, and that tells you that the debts are the obligation of the United States, and you can see from that code, USC, that code will tell you that you can redeem for lawful money, redeem your federal notes for lawful money. I said here that when you were born, this is an example. When you were born, if you look on your birth certificate or any of your government, let me rephrase. When you were born, you were given a birth certificate with an all caps name written on it for you as the beneficiary to use. Note, I'm using my words in a specific way. I said you were given your birth certificate. You, the beneficiary, was given a birth certificate to benefit from the name that is written on the birth certificate or your government issued document, such as your driver's license or your pass, or such as the driver's license or the passport. You are the beneficiary of this. It does not belong to you, because if you look, the government can take it back at any time. It is written on there that it is the property of whichever government that is there. If you look on your social security card, it will tell you that it is the property of the government. It does not say it is the property of yourself, right? It tells you who it belongs to. Therefore, if you have it in your possession, it would only mean that you are the beneficiary of having that piece of document. You are the beneficiary. Note that word, because I'm going to recap something that deals with the beneficiary. So we looked on the Federal Reserve note, which is US dollar or any other. Well, for this example, we looked on the US dollar. We looked and we said that there is a private side as well as a public side. The private side says Treasurer of the United States, and the public side says Secretary of the United States, which is the governor of the International Monetary Fund. You can look this up. You want to operate on the private side. When you get your Federal Reserve note, you can actually discharge your debt in a specific way so that you do not add to the public debt that is out there, the national public debt. You can do this with a United States Postal Service money order, or you can get a money order from a Federal Reserve bank to do the discharging of the debt, right? And this is you're looking at the Federal Reserve note. The Federal Reserve notes, they are negotiable instruments, and you need a non-negotiable instrument to discharge this debt. And you can use any of these two to do the discharging. Now, two things need to be on that non-negotiable instrument. One, a conspicuous statement, which has been given in Title 12 USC Section 411, where it says redeemable for lawful money at the Treasury, US Treasury, or any Federal Reserve Bank. The wording is there in this article, Title 12 USC 411. You can get it there. It also needs to have a restricted endorsement, which is when you sign, you need to have all rights reserved on there, or you can have without prejudice. What that means is that you have reserved your God-given rights, your unalienable God-given rights. That's what without prejudice mean. And so these two needs to be there for it to discharge the debt. All right. Now we mentioned about a trust. Here we bring up the word beneficiary again. So you are the beneficiary of many things in commerce, but you do not know this. Now you know. So we said that when a trust is set up, a private trust, when you have a private trust, you have the guarantor, you have the executor, the settler, and these people, or this person, this individual, set up a trustee or a board of trustees that will take care of the trust, go into different investments and so forth, so that it can increase the wealth of the trust for the beneficiaries. Now the beneficiaries are your children, or rather your offspring. So your offspring. So note, I am using words that are not in the public domain, or if you hear it in the public domain, it is not used on a regular basis. So I say your offspring instead of your children, because children is a commercial term. So I say your offspring as it is written in the scriptures, right? You can find other things in there as well, but stick to offspring, right? And you can learn more about that. And there are 3 books that I introduced you to, similar to what we did yesterday on day 1 of the conference on health. Now you can, in terms of wealth, you can look at the Black's Law Dictionary. I have the 11th edition. You can get the 7th edition, which is earlier, and the wording in there is closer to what you actually want, right? You can get the 11th if you so desire. 7, what I hear is that the information there is more or less understandable. The 0% is another book that I share the information on in discharging debts. And then this other book that deals with trust, it is The Art of Passing the Buck. The Art of Passing the Buck, volumes 1 and volume 2. Volume 1 deals with the overall understanding of what trusts are and what you are going into and the responsibility that you will have in having a trust set up. Volume 2 deals with the step-by-step approach in having this set up. Basically, you will not need an attorney or a lawyer to set this up for you, because if they do set it up for you, what they are authorized to do is to set up as a statutory. But you can find out for yourself, right? So these are 3. Nothing I say here should be taken as financial advice. So do your own due diligence before you take any decisive action. If you feel that this is something that you're ready for, you proceed. Now, this is a valuable resource that you can use to acquire Black's Law Dictionary or the Art of Passing the Buck. So you can go to archive.org to do so, and you can get many resources from that website as well. So we have come to the end of day 2, and I want to hear from you. What do you think about what you have experienced here so far in the conference? This is a time for you to spring into courage, right? It's not the time for you to hold back, right? It's a time for you to move forward and move into courage. Let me tell you the story. There were a group of people. They lived in a foreign land, and they were facing many different types of oppression. They served a creator that they lost sight of that creator, and so they were enduring a lot of trials, a lot of tribulations, a lot of hardships in this foreign land. And the Creator did not forget them, and the Creator sent his servant to come and share with them, that remind them that, okay, the God, the Creator has sent me to share this information with you so that we can get out of here and go over to a better place, right? Now they were walking after a lot of negotiation with the authorities. They finally got the okay to move out of their current condition. So they moved. While they were moving out of their current conditions, they were experiencing something different that they haven't experienced before. So there were a lot of complaining and so forth, and they were saying, why didn't we just stay where we were and enjoy the little that we were receiving, even though we were facing these hardships, right? So there were a lot of complaining. And what happened during that time, while they were on the journey to the better place, right? Many of them did not make it. They died. And so their children were the ones that inherited that better place. Now you are here being exposed to this information so that you can make it better for you and for your offspring and for their offspring, right? So with this information, don't just sit on this information. Find out more about it and move into action. We have already shared with you about the invitation to come to the mastermind group and see if this is something that will work for you. What we'll do, we'll send you a form that you would fill out, and we'll see if you are the right fit to work with this. This is for like-minded people who want a better life for themselves and for their families, who aspire to take control of their life so that they can go out and impact the world positively. If that's you, then we welcome you into this mastermind group. So until next time, I'll see you for day number 3. Happiness. Day number 3. Happiness. That's what we'll be discussing on day number 3. So I trust that you have been enjoying this conference. And what you will notice is that we give back time to your day so that you can do other things that you are responsible for. So once again, I thank you for being here and thank you for participating in this conference. It means a whole lot to me, and I'm sure that this is time well spent with me and all of us here today. Thank you and see you